Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast today. We're starting to rock through these things. We're getting quite a few of them under our belt and having fun doing them again. And tonight we got a special guest with us, Parker Helene. I pronounced it right?
Yep.
Thank you. Parker's a customer of ours here in Charlotte. He's just gotten into archery, and I'm telling you, I've been looking forward to this podcast for a while. He is a very interesting cat,
Wow.
and he's got some cool stories, and we're going to try and talk about his adventures and where he came from. Before we get going, guys, I want to remind you guys we're going to have Elk Camp 2026, March 7th, here at the Sholo store. It's going to be on a Saturday. We're going to have free seminars. We're going to have a youth elk calling contest. We're going to have manufacturers up here showing you all the new hot stuff for 2026. No free of charge. No, there's no paying on it. We're going to have giveaways, but you do need to come and pre-register for it. We're limited space, and the turnout we're getting for it, we're going to fill up pretty quick. So go to our webpage, timbermaceoutdoors.com, pre-register for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time that day. So
Heck yeah.
with anything else, we're gonna move on. And Parker, thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here, man.
Thanks for having me, and I'll be there in March.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hoot. We're excited about it. So Parker, I got on your website, and I was kind of you haven't always been the Parker that I know.
That's true.
So I kind of want to get kind of I want to talk about how your growth, how you came into it, what brought you into archery, obviously, but more on a personal side. Just I was reading your bio and things like that, and it's quite a story. So I kind of like to know a little bit more about that, and then we'll get into the hunting, and then I want to talk about the tribes and things like that. So
Cool.
what started this, guys, was in Antonio. Was it in December you went to Brazil?
Yeah.
So Parker's, he's been there. He bought a bow. We've became pretty good friends, and he says, "Yeah, I'm leaving for a few weeks. I'm going to Brazil." I'm like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" "I'm going to go live with an indigenous tribe." I'm like, "No shit, really?" So I mean, ever since he told me that, I've been like jonesing to hear these stories. So that's what we're going to do today.
Heck yeah.
So tell me a little bit about you. How did you get where you are today? I mean, before you're kind of I think your thing said you're a fratster or something like that.
Yeah, many different versions and lives for sure. I went to ASU. That's how I got out to Arizona. I was living in Los Angeles. I grew up there. And then after ASU, which I was rush chair of my fraternity, and I got an education in partying going to ASU, and literally took that education and went to nightlife. So I got into bars and bartending and VIP hosting and all of that like super quick right after college, and I was making a good amount of money. And within 6 months, being in the hospitality industry, I was the general manager of one of the biggest nightclubs in Arizona. And it wasn't because I had any qualifications. It was because I was trustworthy, and the people above me were just doing drugs, sleeping with their employees, and doing all of the things. Like, they just failed in front of me. So I was all of a sudden like 23 years old running, location that had like $7 to $8 million of revenue, and full restaurants and nightclub.
Wow.
And I was hanging out with celebrities and my favorite football players, and I had Post Malone for one of our parties on a weekend. Just like really, it was a dream. It was really fun at that time in my life.
How long ago was this?
This must have been like 2012. Is when I got into it till like 2016.
Gotcha.
Something like that. And just like when moments of when you really just make changes in your life, and you could, at least in my life, is when you're getting your ass kicked the most. And in that time, there was, I was running the nightclub. Like, if you were to say, Parker, who are you? Kind of like this question, right? I would have said, I am, my job, my relationship, the amount of money that I'm making, like all of the things that I identified with, the community, the friends group I had. And I had a breakup that went as bad as you could have happen without being married and having kids. Like, it went bad. And within a week, my job, the money, friends, all that was taken away because of this breakup being just so intertwined with it all. Like a lawsuit against me, all of these things just because of this breakup, right? And there was an investigation because of that. They had the temporarily fire me to make sure these allegations weren't true. And she stole my dog, you know,
Bitch.
it was, I'll talk it as bad as it could go. And I went through the spiral stage, and, you know, men's work is a big part of my life, right? Brotherhood, connections. And it was because in this time I was sleeping in parks next to my house to not have my roommates hear me cry. Like, it was feeling of really alone, or bring girls back from the club. And then once they got into my room, I'd just break down crying. But I proved to everyone that I was okay, right?
Put on the facade.
Put on the facade, right? And one day, really with no effort of my own, like, I woke up and life was different. It was like this like way of, I tried to like understand what happened, but it was like I took full responsibility for my life. And when that happened, really with no effort, it was like just a new day, that forgiveness came effortlessly. Because I realized how much I played a part within this relationship of, like, you know, I pointed to all these things that she was doing to me, and legit, like, I could have stayed a victim, but I contributed to all of that. And it was just this like full realization of, like, really Spirit just gave me an opportunity to be in a reset. And it was in that time of like waking up, I got my job back, all of these things, but, you know, drinking alcohol, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sleep with random women. I don't want to do all of the things that were a part of this kind of like spiral. It was all of a sudden I had like sovereignty to make choices. And so what I started to do, instead of my free time going back out to nightclubs and doing all that stuff, I looked on Arizona on like Google Earth or maps or whatever. And I looked at this green spot up north. And in this time, like, I just stayed in the Phoenix area, Scottsdale and all that, because of ASU. I just looked, it was a patch of green. It was up here. It was literally up in the White Mountains. I drove up here with my truck, camped with my dog, and just sat in the mountains. And it was just this like moment of like, okay. And then I, you know, started listening to podcasts about my first bow. And it was just this pursuit. I would just go out by myself, just be out in the woods every time I could. Even after a night shift, 5 a.m., I just drive up, shoot the bow. And so that was a big moment. And, you know, a lot happened in between that. I received a message one day, just kind of like, it's kind of how my, I guess, soul talks to me. Like, I was driving to a Kendrick Lamar concert. And no shit, just like a billboard says, you're moving to Indonesia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm driving with my best friend, and I don't even tell him because I don't want to spoil like the night of like I'm picking up and leaving to go live in Indonesia, which I didn't even know if you could move there. I didn't
You've
even know
never been to Indonesia before.
didn't know what language they spoke, didn't know any of this thing. But it was just like a billboard, just was like. And I'm sitting in the car. I'm holy fucking shit. I'm going to move to Bali. And within 12 hours, I resigned my job, had a plane ticket, told my parents, and yeah, I gave them 2 weeks to find a position and all that. But the decision was made within 12 hours. Wow. It was done. I was like, I trusted it, and it was that the journey. What came to me was like, I'm here to find teachers and people that could help me understand what happened to me, like that day I woke up. And so that's when I studied yoga in Indonesia and went to temples, was in Thailand for a little over a year on and off, was studying with yogi masters there, different traditions, going to different ceremonies. And that just kind of spun me to the indigenous cultures and connecting with them. And I was on that train for years, and we'll get into those stories. But what brought me back was I remember I was getting moved to Costa Rica, start a community, and grow my own food. That's this is the pursuit of hunting, right? Is cultivating your own food, and the freedom that comes with that. And I was telling my friend this plan, but I said one thing will shift it all. And I feel like she's coming, and that's my wife, who I got married to last year. And I met her right before I was going to Peru, and I was gonna be off grid for 4 months, like off grid in Peru with the Shipibo tribe, no electricity, no way to call, nothing. And I met her the day I was leaving, or the day before. And I was like, I really enjoyed hanging out with you. I loved to talk to you. And it was the funniest thing on her end because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to be back or when you could even talk to me, but I would love to do that. And she's just like,
See you in 4 months.
yeah. Well, I was moving to Peru. It wasn't like I was like even considering coming back. I was like, this is a one-way ticket. Because with that kind of an adventure, it's like I didn't even get back to the States for another like probably 7 months after I left her.
Wow.
But it was this like one-way ticket of, and to go to that story, I hiked out from the camp that we were at, or the center, to this one road that they said you might get service. Hiked out. It was Mother's Day. I called my mom, and I called her, and this was like months into it. I'm like, I don't even know if you like remember me, but I'm hosting this thing in Costa Rica, and I wanted to make sure she got the invitation. And then I went back in hoping that she would accept it. And I connected her with the people that hopefully, but she didn't come. But yeah, and so my wife and I, fell deeply in love. It was actually in that trip in Peru, in ceremonies, I really fell deeper and deeper in love with her because I got to see our life together. And meanwhile, she was just being cute out here, maybe thought about me a couple times, but I'm in Peru, just like isolated in this little hut, thinking about her every single day. And then, the hero's journey coming back, courting her like a gentleman. And now we live in Heber, Arizona, the mountains in the forest that really called me in, just like picking a moment. Like it was probably 30 minutes from where I live now is the first place I went to in Arizona, camping by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well, you talk about nature and things like that. Is that kind of like there's beauty in everywhere. There's beauty in the desert. There's beauty. I'm a mountains guy.
Yeah.
I like trees. I like the forest. I like to see the sunrise in the meadows. I've had friends that are from Texas and they hate the trees. They're like, "Wow, you live out here, man." It's like you can't see anything. I'm like, "No, you saw the trees." They're like, "No, you can't see. I want to see distance, But
Yeah.
that's cool that the mountains called you. So when you were in Indonesia, were you shooting a bow before you left Indonesia? Okay.
Yeah, I had a Bowtex BTX 3032, something like that. Yeah.
So you're doing all this travel and not shooting. You weren't shooting your bow at all. Like
So what I did is I actually gifted my bow. I actually was planning to take it out to Indonesia with me because I was like Googling, can I hunt out there,
Oh, yeah.
And my buddy was going to meet me out there to come visit. And I was like, okay, you might want to take my bow, but I'll scout it out first. Man, when you get to the jungle and you think that you could even walk into it, I was just like, there's no way.
no way to hunt it. You mean?
No, from my perspective, it was so thick and so just like, I was like, there's no way we're hunting this, and also that wasn't the main intention for the journey either.
Sure.
So
Right.
I gifted my bow to one of my friends, like just at the time, it's like my bow now, just the sexiest thing on the market, everything tuned up, and I gifted it to my buddy.
Right.
And he took it away. So
Nice. So you go to Peru, you come back, you meet your wife, you
Yeah.
marry, and then now she hunts too, or did hunt.
yeah,
You
she's
told me
she's from Michigan.
and she's already killed some deer with a bow. Is that correct?
Too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm yet a unsuccessful hunter. I'm on the journey, so I haven't even let an arrow go, But my wife has had two deer. She grew up in Michigan, and that's a completely different forest. I don't talk about not seeing. It's flat, and you get 20 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
So tree stand, and there's this picture of her with a sled and a deer behind, just her pulling it, with like makeup on, 16 years old. Hilarious. Yeah.
So in your life now, you're a personal coach.
Yeah.
You're a yoga instructor.
Yeah.
You do public speaking, and you play the didgeridoo.
And didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, I want to know what
Do you
this
know what that
is.
is?
I don't. I want to know what it is because you've been hyping it up.
What's I was talking to Parker before this thing, and I started listening to some music that had this in it. And Dan's like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's got some kind of flute thing in there or something. It sounds pretty cool." Now I'm looking at him. He's like, "Well, he builds these things."
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me how you got into that.
Yeah, well, the traditional name is a Yadaki, but there's like 200 different mobs is what they would call like the native tribes, and it's only in the northern territories of Australia where they would play these. And so there's a lot of different names, but the didgeridoo is what the world kind of knows these as, right? And I remember I was actually in New Zealand, and I was doing kind of a pilgrimage there, and I'm really connected to the Maori culture. I actually have a mentor I do the haka with on a weekly basis. Actually, I met him on this trip, but I'm on this trip, and I'm at this music festival, and there's this guy Xavier Rudd, and he's playing two of these, and then in between singing and playing the drums, while this like astral line is like projected around him, and my hand, like I couldn't even like help it. It was just like, I'm gonna learn that instrument. Like it was just like, I was like, that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And at the time, like, you know, like I grew up dedicated to sports, dedicated to that kind of pursuit, not music, not expression, not art. And so the didgeridoo was the first thing that kind of like sparked that of like, I can make noise and it sounds good. And so I made that intention. I was telling everyone, I'm like, I'm gonna play the didgeridoo. And I was living back in Thailand, so I flew back to Thailand, and I go to this one event, and this guy's playing a didgeridoo. And I go up to him, I'm like, I'm gonna learn to play. Where can I get one? And we're in Thailand. They're not indigenous there. No one has didgeridoos, but this guy had one. He goes, you know, I'm leaving tomorrow. I make them, but and this is my last one. I'm sorry. And he sees how bummed I am, and he goes, actually, you know, I'll gift you this one, but meet me at this sound temple in the middle of the Thai jungle tomorrow, and I'll give you the instructions on how to play it, and this is yours. I'm like, oh my God, deal. Show up. He plays over me for an hour and a half, gifts it to me, and gives me specific instructions on how to circular breathe. So there's a way of continuous air flow going through it, right? And he goes, you don't have permission to play any other note on this until you could circular breathe. And so people say they could play the didgeridoo, they can make noise with it, but until you could circular breathe, the didge will teach you everything you need to know. And so I took that super, like, I spent 3 days in that Thai jungle, like fasting, not doing anything else, trying to unlock this breath. On the third day, it was a full moon. Boom, unlocked the breath. Did a little mushroom journey with myself, played the didgeridoo, and it was like the animal kingdom poured out of this thing. And like he said, he only taught me how to breathe, and he said the didgeridoo will teach you the rest.
Really?
And that's been
the only thing you learned then was just how to breathe that.
Only the breathe and the rhythm. And so the Aboriginals would say, or the stories, that it's a storytelling device. So they paint with the didgeridoo. So they'll have like a song of a sunrise, a song of a hunt, a song of a war, a song of a birth, you know, and the stories will come through the didgeridoo. And what happens, it vibrates out. It's this big, looks like a horn for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it vibrates out at this, like, you could sound like a dragon, but it also vibrates back at you. And so it actually vibrates your pineal gland. And so it actually starts releasing, like, you know, chemicals in your brain to actually connect with the ancestral mind. So you actually, like, sometimes I'm playing and it's like I gotta like pull it off me because it's just playing itself. And so you start opening up, and you can go into like psychedelic states just by playing it, right? And so I started playing it, started making noises, just was so dedicated to, I have an instrument. I could go to places and contribute, right? And so I was getting up on stage with bands at like festivals and stuff like that. I've only been playing for like 6 months, but I was decent. No one really know the difference. It's like a unique thing. If I was a guitar, they'd be like, oh, you're a newbie. But no one knows if you're a newbie with a didgeridoo, right? And so anyway, I was talking to you before the podcast. During COVID, my sister and I are hiking in Southern California, where I grew up, and she looks at a yucca and she's like, that kind of looks like a didgeridoo. And I'm like, yeah, it does. And that sparked it. Like I harvested one, carved it in half, put it together, put my lips to it, and I'm like, we're on to fucking something here. And that's when, I made hundreds of them, and I've taught 50 people how to make their own, how to harvest it, and to harvest it in a sustainable way, and as well as just with like some of the traditional, protocols that I picked up from some of my teachers, like offering tobacco. One of my mentors, Chief Philip Scott, he talks. You go out and you find the prettiest or the biggest yucca, and you leave tobacco to that one. You don't touch it because that's chief.
Interesting.
You leave the best, right? And you only take what you need, and also a certain percentage. This is our hunting 101. We're not trying to deplete, right? And we're only trying to take what we need. And so, it kills me that you didn't tell me to bring one, because I would
Yeah, I
have
thought
loved to
about
have
it
ripped
today.
it.
Like, man, I'd have to bring one. He play this for.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking fast enough.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. So you told me you went to Brazil and things like that. And we talked a little bit about the hunting that they were doing there. I'm assuming it's like the most indigenous, but they use a bow and arrow there. They also use guns, you said too, right?
Yeah. So the intention for going to Brazil and for a lot of these is just to learn. I'm connected to the Lakota tradition, the Shipibo in South America, the Ashaninka is the tribe we were going with, the Maori, the Balinese, like so many of these like different traditions, the Aboriginal culture in Australia. Like I go on these journeys to learn, and there's something always that kind of like pick up. And something that was really unique about this one trip was just the hunting culture of the Ashaninka. Like it's also to see an indigenous community that is thriving is something. It's unfortunately not common in today's world.
Right.
Especially in North America. It's not like Native people are thriving, and that's hard to see. But when you go to at least this part, not to say everyone in South America is, they're actually not, but Banki Piako, who's like their medicine man, their leader, their like chief, has created this kind of community of a reforestation effort. So they planted over 5 million trees in reforesting this like big plot of land that they're taking back from cattle farming. And when a community has food abundance, in my opinion, they're thriving. And they're thriving. They have 90 fish ponds that they dug out, and it just fills with water because of the rain. And then they just throw some fish in there. And I mean,
They're growing their own fish.
so they're growing their own fish. They have 90 of these ponds, right? And I went in there with a bunch of the guys with big nets. We're combing it, right? And mind you, like anacondas are welcome to come in, and crocodiles and all these things. Like this is like straight jungle, and then these pools, and we're going through, and this is like my friend Todd and I were really earning cred with the people that were down there, because we're like knee deep in the water. Fish are like hitting us in the nuts and in the face, and we're pulling the nets. We got 150 pounds of fish.
Wow.
In this one pool, right?
Sure.
And then I'm hearing these stories of like the hunting, that they would go like 2 days up the river, and they'd, pick a spot, and they would hunt everything, And this is a culture that is so in touch with their environment, where they're contributing so much. They're like planting trees constantly, growing it, growing their own food and all that. And they would also take, they would do it in a way of prayer and ritual. And I'm talking, if you haven't been to the Amazon or like a thick jungle, to anyone who's listening, you look at it and you're like, this is impossible to even walk through, let alone spot anything, let alone like, it just feels impossible. It's just like, it's almost claustrophobic because the foliage is so thick, right? And then on that leaf could be a snake, spider. It's just crazy. And And also, if you go into the jungle from the river or the path that you're at, and you spin around once or twice, you don't even know where you were at because you can't even see the light. So you don't even know where northeast, west. You have to have your bearings. There's a lot of stories of like you could be 15 feet off the path, and then you turn around and
You're gone.
you feel like you're completely lost.
wow.
And so what you need to do in that situation is you stay put. But obviously people wander, and the guys are like, oh, it's this way. But this just gives credibility. These guys are like incredibly skilled. And this community is also like Banky Piaco. He, in my opinion, he's like the Nelson Mandela, the Martin Luther King of indigenous rights in South America right now. He spoke at the UN, traveled all over the world. He is like, by all means, like a force of nature, who's also like a medicine man. He drank ayahuasca at 2 years old. He was trained and picked at 2 years old to be the spiritual leader of the Ashaninqua from his grandfather. And he not just has this mission, like I was there, and he was working 10-hour days, building chicken coops, tractors, all this, like building more infrastructure and growing his community. And then he'd sit up all night and service medicine and hold ceremony. And we had a time with him where he told stories just like, I'm here to work hard, teach my children to work hard and to contribute to this world. And he's like, I don't judge everyone for what they're doing in the world, but what I do know is I'm doing my part to make a better world. And he's like, I don't plant trees for me. I plant trees to program the future for my children.
Nice.
And it was this moment of like, this was my takeaway from this trip. It's like, you don't plant trees for you. You plant trees to program the future of your children. And that like brought the context of the word programming into a different context. Because we think of programming, we think of your computer and all that. Programming for indigenous, just like plants a tree. That sets for, the future, right?
Yeah.
And then he was telling me stories about like for 20 years, he trained every single day with a bow for hunting. And with like my buddy Fede actually went hunting with him. He's an Italian guy, and they let him stay with the women on the beach.
While the men went hunting.
Because it's just crazy. But he was telling me he was on the beach just watching them just bringing animals back, and then he'd be salting them right on the beach. So that, because you have to be quick, you either got to eat it or you got to salt it in the jungle because it just goes sour, super quick. And so they're just pulling everything out, monkeys, jaguars, like all of these things. Like they're hunting everything. And the amount of different calls and the amount of different just intelligence that you need to be able to be a hunter of, it's not like everything hears you. Like you're walking into the jungle, they know you're there before. So, but a hunter in their situation, like they are stealth, they like how we read the wind and all of that, like how they do it in the jungle because it's so condensed. You can't even feel the wind, like it's something that I hope to experience like firsthand.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do they, or language wise, are there any language different? I mean, were they speaking English?
So the first language is Ashaninqua.
Okay.
And then their second is Portuguese. And then the third is Spanish. I speak a little Spanish. So my Spanglish half, a little bit, I'm translating. And then after a few days, just the language barrier just kind of breaks down because you just kind of have the body language and you get good at sign language and stuff like
figure
that.
things out.
But with most of the talks with Banky or stuff, there was a translator and a friend that spoke Portuguese. And so we got better translation, or there were Portuguese people there that were, white from the cities that were translating, and they did a great job. So.
Were they? You say they're hunting everything up there. Do they do any Are they concerned about overhunting it there, or do they do any management as far as the wildlife goes, or are they just?
No, it's if we're thinking about the Wild West a couple 100 years ago, it's the Wild West up there. And they definitely have principles of like not hunting the same place twice, like from a, from their tribe, they do in the best they can. The problem is, like there are people starving in the jungle. There's overhunting and all that. So it's not being managed properly by any way,
By
shape, or
anybody.
form.
How many people are in the village?
There was a couple hundred.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was also like this was more a village that's being stewarded to replant this plot of land. So it's not their ancestral land, but their ancestral so Banky Piaco's grandfather actually traditionally they were in Peru, and then with like the rubber farmers and kind of all of that, they fled, half the tribe fled to Brazil. And then the last state to join Brazil was the state that we were in. I forget the name of it, but it wasn't until the 60s or something like that it became
Oh, so
Brazil.
it's a pretty new
It
state.
kind of held out, And so this tribe is actually half in Peru, half in Brazil, which is really interesting. And so they but this river that we were on goes between it, and they're also fighting narcos, like they're the drug trafficking going through that river. So there's military presence on like the last plane that we had to take to get to where we were. Man, we got the pilot, 5 people in this thing. He's like, sexting someone like on Facebook, like we're like coasting in the air, we have to stay below the clouds. Like it was the craziest plane flight. And then we land and then there's military there, investigating everyone to help with the narcos. So there's a lot of issues of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. You any questions, Antonio?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously you've traveled quite a bit in your lifetime. Is there any like specific spot that you would be like, hey, I took something really big from this and I want to go back?
Well, New Zealand is such a special spot in my heart, and I only went once, but I'm planning to definitely go back. And what really stood out was the culture, the Maori culture that is indigenous there, and how they're really kind of, it's the best example of actually intertwining Western and indigenous cultures. And that's where I met my teacher, Matu, who had really inspired me to, have you ever seen the haka before? The haka, you ever seen like the Hawaii football team do that
Oh,
dance?
yeah, okay. Yeah.
But it's the haka version, and that's done before 3 things. It's done before war. So if you do a haka and you're fierce enough, your enemy might be like, hey, let's just talk, And then the second is to welcome visitors, to showing how fierce you are, right? And the third is the honor. So it's actually like giving a full expression of who you are, right, within control, because that's what a warrior is like, how do you wield the peak of who you are, right? And also what it taught me being there is like, and expressing myself in that way is that like, that isn't toxic masculinity when we're at our peak, right? Like before the haka, I only was at my peak when I was dangerous. And this actually taught me how to actually wield that expression within control, which is a real man. And also those islands are insane. I'm a Lord of the Rings guy too. It's like, that's where they filmed all the Lord of the Rings in New Zealand, in the South Island. And so the North and the South Island, and there's this one tree called Tane Mahute, which is, Tane means man. And it's their creation story of this tree separated Papatu Nuku, Mother Earth, and Ranganui, Father Sky. And so this tree grew upside down and pressed Father Sky and Mother Earth apart. And it's the biggest tree in the Southern Hemisphere. It's called a kauri tree. And it's 3,000 years old plus, maybe even older. And I went to go see this tree. And it's their creation story of how Mother Earth and Father Sky were being held up by this one tree. And the kauri tree looks like it's grown upside down. It looks like there's roots in like big branches.
Really?
It's the craziest tree. So the hot pools, the nature, the culture, the lure, the adventures, and the untouched nature of New Zealand is insane.
Really?
I love it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is there a place that you would never go back to?
Oh yeah. That's a good question. There's some airports that I never want to go back to. Really like the Philippine airports, whatever one you're passing through. But for the most part, like what I found is once you kind of sift through the parts that you don't like you could even go to Bali, you could even go to like these magical places, and you go to this one place that's a tourist or whatever, and you'd be like, I don't never want to fucking be here. But if you settle in enough and you get in touch with the local expats or the local indigenous, the adventure finds you, and you always kind of find the way. So whenever I try to vacate, I never really go on vacations. I go on adventures. It's always for extended period of time, because the first few days it's just like, what the fuck are we even doing here?
Yeah.
And then you meet that one
Trying to
person
figure it out.
inviting you to this. And so my trips are always really open-ended, and it allows for that kind of call to adventure to happen. And then all of a sudden, like it happened in Tulum when I was down there, and it's a party scene, all of that. There's some cool stuff. And then once my friends kind of left, I stayed for a few extra days, and then this guy's like, do you want to go to a cenote? Do you know what a cenote is?
I used to dive in cenotes.
Yeah. So this cenote, which is basically, there's a water system that goes under the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's limestone. So these water cut out these caves. And so I was invited to this one cenote, and I've been to a couple, but they were packed and all this. But this one guy, he's like, you wanna come with me? Bring your didgeridoo. I'm like, okay, let's go. I show up to the cenote, and he has this flute. I have my didgeridoo, and it's owned by this Dutch guy. So it's just like a private cenote. And literally, it was like the biggest mouth of a cave, and like for as far as you could see into the cenote with a little bit of light at the end of it. And we walk into the cenote for 200 yards, knee-deep water, sapphire blue. And then under the biggest stalactite, I think that's the name of the ones coming
on
off,
top.
right?
Yeah.
It's coming down, and then underneath the water, there's this circular stone disc that's cut, submerged underwater, that is massive. I'm talking like it's impossible to, even with a tractor, get it into here. But it's perfectly sphere, underwater, right underneath the stalactite, and under the stalactite is this perfectly pin-drilled hole, like right at the top of this thing. And he's like, this is a Mayan birthing cave, and this was put here by the sky people. And so these women would come because it was perfectly like waist deep to do this birthing on this circular stone. Like this is the ancient stuff that is not even textbooks. It was impossible to get in here. Who put it here? How is it underwater? How is it perfectly sphere under the stalactite? Who drilled the hole? And then like it's a Mayan ancient birthing center. I was just like, this is what I'm talking about. That's pretty sick. Yeah, and that was probably one of the things. Like I've seen some magical things. Like that was one of them. Another one was in Indonesia. I watched this documentary called Ring of Fire. It was this guy his name's John Lee, and he was an acupuncturist, and he could like start fire with his hands. And I watched that because someone sent it to me because I was out there, and I'm like, yeah, I'd love to meet someone like that. The next day, I'm at a cafe. Woman behind me is like, I know this acupuncturist that could electrocute me with just his hands. He puts needles in it, electrocutes me. And I'm listening to this conversation.
Oh, she's not having it with you. She's having it with somebody
with
else.
someone else.
Oh.
I turn around and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I get that guy's number? She's like, yeah, sure. Met the guy. I have video of me. He could stop your heart with just touching you. puts your hand on you, like, you know, those electrode things. It's like that, but he could ramp it up. He's like at a 1, he'll touch you and your hand will just like convulse.
Oh.
Like really true miracles. And he was Chinese, just like John Lee, the guy in the documentary, that his family fled from China from communism. So they went to Indonesia, which is a big thing, or Singapore. They kind of all left. But he got trained by his grandfather in 6 generations to be able to do this. I'm shitting you not. This man could literally stop your heart by touching you. But he's an angel, and he does healings in
Really?
Oh yeah, crazy. And just this little hut, no one even knows about him. He has no business skills whatsoever. I'm grateful because I get a session with him every time I'm back.
That's
But,
cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's
really cool.
Really cool. Like true miracles. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm jealous of you, man. I mean, I'm listening to these stories going, you've lived a life, and here I am thinking I'm living a life. I ain't living shit.
Well,
You got time.
here's the adventure I'm ready for. Some elk hunting. There's elk hunting, which, well, I gotta shout you out. I'm a very green, you know, bow hunter with my buddies, bringing them in, and like I said, like one of my missions in my life is I share what I love most, and that's why hundreds of people play didgeridoo. That's why adventures, ceremonies, all of these things like I introduce to people. Bet your ass I'm bringing bow hunters in here and bringing business.
You have.
And I have, and it's going to continue, especially like, but to go back, I'm a green bow hunter, and I come in, I'm like, you know, where's a good place to hunt? And granted, like anyone who's listening, I'm sure you're hunters, like, you don't give away your spots. Not to say he gave away his spot, but you really helped me out. You really gave, like, I mean, amazing guidance and teachings, but also like you've really helped me out already.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And I feel the connection we had, you know, I was like, okay, Brian likes me.
and I don't do that very often.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But we have. I know Antonio is probably like, what?
Yeah, I've never had any of that.
Well, I appreciate that. And I love watching somebody get into the sport of archery and bow hunting, and they do it for the right things. You know, so many people, they watch the YouTube and they watch, you know, videos, things like that. It's not that easy. You know, I remember as a kid growing up, watching Larry Jones video cassettes, you know, and going, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to be this guy, you know, and then you get out there like, this sucks. There's nothing like this, like the videos are. And until you get there and live it, people, and I see people that get into bow hunting and they're in it for like, you know, a season. And I see them like 2 years later, I'm like, hey, how's it going? It sucked, man. I went up for 5 years, I didn't see a thing. I'm like, well, that's why they call it hunting.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about the kill. And for some people it is. Some people, we've had this conversation, Antonio and I have, you know, about it's all about if it's brown is down. And I think, and I was that person in my younger years. You know, I just got to kill. If I didn't kill something, it was a pure failure. Now it's completely different. I mean, I go out there and nothing like seeing the sunrise or sunset. I mean, I used to go in, we used to have some leases in Texas, and I would be sending pictures to Deanna, and like, you know, here's a sunset, you know, I'm like, it's gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. I didn't care if I killed anything or not. And you see stuff on the walls. I've killed enough stuff in my life. It's not about that anymore. If I see people like you that get excited about it and really have this passion for it, because I forget, I've been doing this for, I'm 56 now. I started in 80, so like 40 some years ago, I started bow hunting.
Wow.
Well, I forget what it was like to be that new guy to bow hunting. I remember walking into my first archery shop, and I was so scared of walking in there because I didn't know shit. You know, and I was afraid to ask a question because I don't want to look like I'm stupid or anything like that. And I never want that to be something that comes in our shop. You know, ask me. Now, I do have a real short fuse when people come in and tell me how to do stuff. You know,
I've seen it.
Yeah,
That was me, but
you know, I watch YouTube, so now I'm an expert. Yeah, I don't. I got zero patience for those people. They'll never get my spots.
yeah.
But you know what? So I mean, you started bow hunting before all this really started taking place.
Yeah.
And now you're home. You're married.
Yeah.
You're settling down.
Yeah.
Now bow hunting's part of your life now. What do you like about it more than, I mean, what drives you to bow hunting versus rifle hunting or, something like that?
Yeah, it's because there's always doing things the hard way, kind of a part of like also this is like an ancestral, you know, weapon that for sure our ancestors use. It's obviously like the bells and whistles are insane now, which I love, but like there's something about shooting a bow that like activates something, just like playing the didgeridoo or doing the haka or any of these things do. So like archery in itself and the mastery of that seems to turn something on within me. I remember I started building things. My dad's a carpenter, but he didn't really teach me. He's kind of like you. He's good at what he does, but he's not the best teacher, right? And he always kind of pushed me to a white collar. But then when I started building, it all of a sudden like flipped a switch in me as a man to like, oh shit, I didn't even know that was there and why that's important to me. Archery is the same way. And then when it comes to how difficult it is, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
To see where I'm at now and where I need to be. There's only so much you could learn outside of hunting and then being in the hunts. And so I'm going to go to Michigan for Christmas. I'm like, yeah, we'll go to Michigan because our family's got acres of property. You can go hunting. Hopefully I pull some tags this year, deer or elk, and then the OTC. And then I'm looking at New Mexico and different kind of spots of like, I'm like, how can I like just revolve my life? Especially we're going to try to have kids this year of being on the adventures of like just the land that I love, you know? And so that's what really draws me to it of like, it has turned a switch on within me that I didn't know existed. And I know that this isn't, you can't just try it. You have to dedicate yourself fully to it. I mean, I was shooting my bow before coming out here, and it is that I read some bullshit thing of it's 7 years before you actually become somewhat, you can call yourself a bow hunter or something like that. I don't know but I'm like, I'm in. Like I look at, I'm in, and I want to pursue that.
There's always something to learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, if you go in with that mindset that, hey, I don't know everything, and every hunting season, every stock, every harvest of animal, you're going to learn something new, right or wrong, good or bad. You've learned something from it, and I think that's, and there's people that are I don't say there's two types of people. There's people that that want the challenge, that are kind of like, this is them. This is like the primitive person in me out there trying to do this mano a mano, one-on-one with this animal. And there's some people that just want out there and they just want the glory. They just want to get a hero shot to post on social media, and that's just the world we live in right now. I mean, it's all about social media. And I've said my piece about social media over the years, and it's a good tool. And there's good things out there. There's also so much crap out there too. But I think it's just fun watching somebody get into archery and into hunting like you have. And there's been other ones throughout the years, but it's just some people come in there and it's just because it's a fad thing. It's like this is a cool thing to do right now. And there's people like, man, I really want it. It's my thing. I remember I was on an elk hunt, and I think it was my very first elk hunt, as a matter of fact. My dad went with me. My dad's a road hunting rifle guy from way back when. I mean, that's just the way he hunts. And he wanted to go with me on a elk hunt. Like, let's go.
Just driving roads.
That's all he would do, just drive roads. And if he saw it, he was, as a kid, he goes, let's go hunting. I'm like, it's so boring. I don't want to go hunting. I take a pillow, I sleep, and it's like, he always harvested a deer. Always. But I don't ever remember seeing antlers at my parents' house. He never kept an antler. He wasn't in for him. He literally did it for the meat, and that's what he did. Well, he wanted to go on this elk hunt with me. And I had a Unit 1 elk tag, early bull tag. And I go, let's go. So we pick him up, and I drive him up there, and we just take off. We're walking. We're walking probably 2 hours into this thing. And my dad's a big old fat dude. And he's like, hey. Psst. Well, where the hell are we going? We're looking for elk. Where are they? I don't know. So we're looking for them. You don't know where they're at? I'm like, no. We're just walking around here aimlessly? And he's like, yeah. He goes, you're an effing idiot. I looked at him like, what? He's like, I'm going back to the truck. This is bullshit. He never hung with me ever again. He's like, to this day, he's like, I don't know why you do that. Now, I do hunt differently now than I hunt before. I mean, I don't aimlessly walk around the freaking woods looking for something.
That's what I was doing the other day. But
Yeah, I mean, I have gotten smarter with that.
Yeah.
But that's just some people like that. That's not their game.
yeah.
You know, my dad, he'll come and look at my animals in my house and around the shop. He's like, yeah, that's cool. He goes, I never mounted anything. I go, it wasn't for your thing. And even for me, I mount them for people to look at them, you know, and have a conversation with them. I like talking about the animals, you know, and the stories behind them. And there's always a story behind it. And I'm in it for hunting more for the story.
Yeah.
I tell guys all the time, when I went to Africa to hunt cave buffalo, I got shut down when I got there. And I was pissed. And they're like, well, just sit in a blind and just kill one. I go, it's not the story. It's not the thing, man. I don't have a story to go with that, sitting in a blind. I want the adventure. I don't care how big it is.
Yeah.
I don't care if I can kill one.
Yeah.
I just want to have that adventure. And that, to me, that's what bow hunting is to me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, you just nailed on something that is really appealing to me. It's I'm a big backpacker, so I love backpacking. I've backpacked some of the coolest places in the world. I've gone to Chile and done Torres del Paine and in 12 days around a mountain down there, and like I love it, right? And there's something about like when you're in a place like 3 days, and the only way to get out is 3 days that way. It's just like it just like eliminates the amount of people kind of around you that will experience that. And then hunting's on another level because if you're hiking on a trail. If you're hunting, you're like, how do I get up that? And so you're doing things that are like you would have never been up to that hill, or if you were just enjoying just nature, you know. And so the intimacy, even I went to 36B with my buddy Alexander, and the intimacy and connection to that land, like we just feel like we know it because we explored it all, we glassed it, we absorbed it, we saw every sunrise and sunset. It's just like it becomes a deeper part of you, even in those years of not bow hunting and just doing those adventures. Hunting just adds another level of connection to the land that you just can't, you don't get, because you're not just hyper aware, And I love that. I love that aspect.
It's funny. There's some people that are wood wise, and there's some people that aren't wood wise. My wife, I love her to death, but she will walk you in circles for days trying to find a truck. What's crazy, and Antonio, this, when you're out hunting, especially like chasing elk, you're chasing bugles. You start at daylight, and by 11 o'clock when they'll go to bed, you kind of figure, where the hell am I at? You don't even paying attention. You're going over mountains and hills and this and that, and all of a sudden you're like,
shit.
All right, where's the truck at? This was way before we had these things. I mean, we didn't have that stuff back in the day, and it was like, damn, I'm a long ways away. You don't realize how far you get in that moment, and where you're even at. Sometimes I've had guys literally, truck's this way. I'm like, no, it's not, dude. It's this way. And Deanna once, I'll tell you a story, and she'll get mad at me for saying this, but she's not here.
I love those.
I forget where. I think we're in 23, and we get chasing back up in this place, and I go, we're heading back. She goes, the truck's over this way. I'm like, no, it's this way. She's like, no. I'm okay. Let's go. I just let her walk, and we're walking, and we're walking, and we're walking, and she starts looking around a little more and slowing up a little bit, and she's like, that road should have been here. I go, yeah, it's not here. She goes, where's it? I go, it's where I told you it was at. Now we had to walk twice as far to get back. But to this day, she's never questioned me now when I say it's this way.
Yeah.
I'll let her have a moment. So we'll go for this. I can walk all day.
Yeah, my wife has the same, like when she's around me, she doesn't need to care about where directions or where we parked or any of those things, because she's just and,
exactly.
I just take care of it, and this is a story that she wouldn't mind me or want me to say, but she's from Michigan, so the UP. You're familiar with Upper Peninsula, where we're going on a highway like east, and we're forking to get up to the UP, and it was just like the 5 freeway up or south. She's like, which way is the UP? She's like panicking as we're like kind of driving. And I'm like, you really need to ask me that question, north or south? and then obviously she thought about it and got it, but she was just like so embarrassed. I'm like, you need to ask me where the UP is, north or south. It was pretty good.
Now, I will tell you a story. A few years ago, I was guiding a guy in 3C, and we were coming out of this canyon, and I had my headlamp. It was pitch black. I had my headlamp on, and we're walking, and we're talking, and pretty soon I come around, I'm like, the hell? We're just here. He's like, yeah, we're walking in a big circle. I don't know where you're going. I'm like, I thought I was walking the truck. And I did a complete big ass circle and ended back in the same spot I was at. I ended up pulling my Onyx out and going, what the hell? Looking, I go, that's the first time in my life.
It happens.
And I'm like, I have no idea what happened. He goes, well, they always say your left stride's longer than your right one. Maybe you just walked. I've never had this happen in my life. Well, I went back. I'm like, this is the mouth of the canyon we just came out of. He's like, yeah. I'm like, he knew exactly where we were at.
Yeah.
Like, why did you say something? He goes, I figured
you're the guy.
I'm like,
You're the guy.
dude, I'm so embarrassed right now. I was like, gosh, damn, that's the first time in my life that's ever happened. But in the woods, you get out there, it gets dark timber and things like, especially like in Unit 1 places.
Yeah.
Man, it gets dark. You don't really know how dark it can get in places like that. But Tony, got anything else?
No.
No.
Did you have any cool experiences down in 36B? That's my neck of the woods, so.
Okay. Well,
You want pins?
No, I got pins.
well, yeah. He's got the pins. Well, what I would say about that unit in particular, this is the inexperienced hunter going down there. Alexander's like, it's gonna be a full moon. I'm like, sweet, we're gonna have a full moon. We're gonna, cook under the fire and, just like play guitar and have some fun. And then the weather's gonna be decent. And so we're thinking this is great, like it's not too cold and we got a full moon. And I mean, now we really learn that the bucks go nocturnal in that time. They don't need to move. We hiked to the top of this kind of little mountain lookout that you could get a 360 view without a headlamp. The moon was so bright, to a place we never even went before. Through all that shrub. So if we were doing it, the bucks had no problem moving at night. But what we did see is, we glassed easily over 50, 60 does, like a ton. So a ton of deer everywhere. And it was, just absolutely stunning sunrises and sunsets, ton of deer down there. And I was just humbled by how smart these bucks are. It's just like, and of course it's the late season hunt. Do they all get harvested? All the egoic mind things, but it's like, nah, if there's this many doe, there's bucks here.
Yeah.
And I was just so freaking humbled that like we spent those, 4 or 5 days just in absolute beauty, just in silence, just really soaking it in, and didn't see one single, even like I had my bow ready, knocked, everything ready to go, because we walked up on some deer and they were 40 yards away and in a ravine, and they kept popping out, and I'm waiting for a buck to come up. No buck, because like that was the strategy that we thought of on the last day. I was like, well, might as well create opportunity. I don't know if this is a good hunting technique at all, but let's just start kind of adventuring through the area. Not through the whole territory, but like through some new area and up some mountains. And we were, creating opportunity. I was in, 40 yards from a handful of deer, but never any bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're there. I mean, it's just bucks aren't stupid, and we don't have as many bucks as we used to,
Yeah,
obviously. But I mean, the deer are definitely smart. especially big bucks. I mean, it seems like this year I've seen a lot of coos deer some big coos deer get hammered. And it's like, man, coos deer are a little different. Coos deer, they'll stay within a mile where they're born at. I mean, unless they get bumped out, they're not like a mule deer will migrate to play areas and move around more than a coos deer does. But man, some big coos deer have gotten hammered this year.
There's been some good ones.
I think I sent you a couple pictures.
Yeah.
Of them. Yeah, there's some good ones getting hammered. Arizona, I mean, we're drought stricken and things like that, and the hunting's not what it used to be.
Absolutely.
But,
Yeah. So what do you see it as, like Arizona hunting just for elk and deer and stuff like that? Like obviously getting a tag, wait in line, all of these things. But for me, I don't really know the difference,
Yeah,
And
it's
what it used
not
to
what
be.
it used to be. Yeah. It's not at all what it used to be, and in some areas. So there are areas that are managed. I think the quotas will help a little bit with this. But I think for so long Arizona was overhunted, especially with the deer population, because there was no checks and balances with it.
Oh, really?
It was just
There's
like,
no.
when you do over the counter, man, it could just be, I forget how many over the counter tags they sold. I remember I used to have the numbers. I mean, we're talking thousands of over the counter tags.
For rifle.
No, it's for
Okay, yeah.
OTC.
Yeah.
So, but of that, we never knew how many of those people harvested. Did 3,000 of them kill a deer? Did 1,000 of them kill a deer? So there was no data, and all they could rely on were surveys, game and fish surveys. Well, those are about 35% accurate. So you're basing your numbers and your management on 35% of the data out there, and it finally caught up to us. And then also you throw a couple of drought years on top of this or whatever, and all of a sudden, man, we got an issue now. And I think that's where I see it at now. I mean, but there are units like a 3A, 3C that are managed, the Kayabat, things like that, where they manage. It's a draw only type unit. It's not over the counter, and because of that, I mean, I grew up here, and I remember going to 3C, and you couldn't find a deer in 3C. I mean, if you saw 2 deer on a drive for a day, you're doing pretty good. Now we're seeing herds, 13, 14 deer, and seeing multiple herds throughout a morning. So it definitely has made a difference with that. And I think the quotas will help out a lot. It's people bitch about
it's got to take
quotas,
time.
but you can't manage something.
It's going to take time.
You can't manage something unless you know what you're killing.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
For sure.
That's business 101. That's life 101.
100%.
You have to manage your resources that are out there. So it's going to take some time.
Do you think that makes the hunting more competitive?
Oh, absolutely. So you have these numbers grow. I mean, you see how hard it is to get a tag in Arizona. I mean, every year they seem to add 10 to 15,000 more applicants than they had the previous year on stuff.
10 to 15,000
on elk and antelope permits sometimes. So you have that much influx of people wanting to go hunt, and then you have the less and less of the game that's able to be hunted.
Sure.
It's just a numbers game. So and these poor animals, I've said this for many, many years, our animals are run ragged. I mean, hunting season starts in August and it ends at the end of January. And that whole time something's getting hunted every weekend, and there's pressure. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying we shouldn't have hunting at all. Don't get me wrong. But I think when I hear people come in here and bitch and moan about, well, we have quotas now, and this, you can argue if the quotas are good numbers or bad numbers, or low or high, but you can't argue that we don't need quotas, that you can't manage it. And if you don't, especially in Arizona, we're mandated. Once archery season hits 20% of the overall quota of a unit, it's mandated it has to go to a draw. There's no more over the counter.
Yeah.
So, I tell people all the time, if you don't have this, we don't start managing this, it's going to hit 20% of the quota all the time, and then all of a sudden you're going to a draw. So, don't look a gift horse in the mouth type thing. It's like, hey, you still have this over the counter. We're one of the few states that have over the counter opportunities in the West, where you don't have to get drawn. Just go buy a tag and go have an opportunity to go hunt.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big privilege that we have.
Totally.
That if we had to wait for a tag every year to get drawn for a hunt, our hunting numbers would drop tremendously because people just get tired of waiting for it.
Totally.
There's a guy in here today. He's got 32 points for antelope.
Jeez.
He's never been. He's older than I am. He's never had an antelope tag in his life.
I mean, he's got to be up there with the most points.
You would think, but the maxes keep putting, because more and more people keep putting in, so that max keeps getting bumped. And every year he thinks, okay, I'm going to get a tag. Well, he doesn't get a tag.
Yeah, you hunt an antelope, huh?
What's that?
You had an antelope.
Yeah, I took me 21 years to draw a tag, a 4B archery tag, which should be hard to draw at all. It took me 21 years to draw that tag.
Jeez.
I've only hunted antelope one time in there's I've killed
Do you
antelope.
recommend me just putting in just for
You have to.
for antelope?
You
Just
need to.
yeah,
If you don't start building up points.
yeah, yeah.
And the problem with I mean, I'm sorry, and I'll tell you something. Our system
It's
sucks.
garbage.
You know, I wish you'd just go to a complete random.
I said it's
set.
garbage. Our system.
It is. You know, our system it says, so the first round is a complete lottery, and then the points start kicking in from there. I wish you would just go to a lottery like it does in New Mexico.
Yeah.
There's no, it's like, hey, you know, you're in.
Yeah.
Here, because of the point system, things like that, and the way it works, man, and as many people keep putting in,
And people just put in without even intention of going hunting, right? Because
I hear that. I don't know how much that is, you know, like the anti-hunters and things like that.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to have to pay for all your tags up front. So when you go and you fill out your 5 spots, whatever you did, an elk, an antelope, deer, bighorn sheep, you would take that money, check the game and fish, and give them your money for those hunts.
Yeah.
Well, that back then, not a lot of people could afford it, especially families. You know, like, hey, little Tommy, you're not going to get to bid in for bighorn sheep. You know, you're going to get deer this year. That's all you're going to bid in for.
Yeah.
But when they went to was it $5 when they first started doing it, $5 application
Yeah.
fee, and then you could do as many as you wanted. And then if you got drawn, then they didn't take your money. You'd pay for it
Yeah.
then. Once they did that, well, now a lot more people are putting in
Less
because it doesn't
painful.
cost them.
Yeah.
I mean, what the odds are you going to get everything?
Yeah.
So once you started doing that, you started seeing, man, the applicant numbers went way up. But I think, you know, if you're going to start doing it, you got to start putting it in.
Well, question for you. So, new archery hunter, opportunity in the West, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, California. Recommendations, just so I can get as many hunts as I can.
Well, I
Under
would
my
tell you
belt.
this, in the West in general, it's just tough. I don't care what
Yeah.
state you're in. And the price is going through especially for out-of-state guys. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think what's in New Mexico, I heard some New Mexico like $1,600 right now
Yeah,
for elk.
something like that.
out-of-state.
Yeah, if you get pulled, right? I was
Yeah.
looking at that because it's and they labeled some of the big units that have the like. Those are the units that have like $1,600.
Yeah,
and there's
the
other
Eagles and
ones
stuff
that are
like
like lower.
Yeah. So, you know, like even if you're going to Utah, I think my license I have to pay up front is like $300-something before I can
Put
even
in.
tag or no tag. It used to be you put in, if you got drawn, you then pay for your tag. Now these states have learned, hey, it's a money grab. Let's get this revenue up front.
For sure.
And then,
Well, hopefully they're using it for good.
yeah, you hope. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it made it a lot. It made it a lot harder. And so, and now that hunting is so freaking popular, especially bow hunting, entire West. I mean, it's like pulling a Nevada elk tag would be like winning a freaking $1 billion lottery
Yeah.
anymore. It's so hard to get. I think, so a lot of guys are just staying in state now because they can't afford to go out of state.
Yeah.
And the chance of getting drawn is even that much slimmer. But Arizona offers a lot of opportunity. I mean, we have the OTC deer, elk
Yeah.
tags. There are better units than other units as far as you want just to draw a tag.
Yeah.
You and I have had this conversation.
Yeah.
If you want a good quality tag, you're going to wait. And
But like bear, turkey, javelina, because I got a bear tag, I got a mountain lion tag, because I'm like, just give it to me just in case.
Yeah.
I got a turkey tag in May. And then whenever the javelina is kind of coming up, like just kind of apply for everything. Do the point systems work for those too? Like
point system for everything is a draw.
For everything,
everything's a
draw,
point.
yeah.
So you
Yep.
get you have a loyalty point, which means how many years is it before you get your loyalty point?
5 years.
I forget.
Yeah.
5 years. 5 years, you pick up a loyalty point. As long as you keep putting in for that species, you have that point.
Okay.
You also have your
Hunter ed.
game and fish hunter ed card. So if you do a hunter
Oh, yeah,
education, you get a point.
Yeah.
So and 2 points could, I mean that's free 2 points you get all the time. That definitely helps you out. So I always recommend getting those 2 points at least. And then you just got to stay in the pool and keep doing it. But it literally is. I mean, you'll hear guys that walk in, they drew a freaking 23 North bull tag with 2 points. I mean, it happens. Then you get guys like this guy in the shop the other day, 32 points on an antelope. It's like, holy hell!
No.
I mean, he's got as many antelope tags points as he has sheep tags, sheep
Yeah.
points. It's discouraging for guys. But you get to also get a point too. I mean, he's had his hip replaced now. He's lamed up, and it's like, I'm not getting any younger. I just want to tag. It's all I want. And that's what sucks. Like, even me, and I just turned 56. And Deanna's asking me, she's putting in for elk this week. She's like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, I think I'm just going to put in for points this year. It's going to be a dry year. I don't think I'm going to put in. She's like, by the time you do one, you may not be able to walk around the woods. I'm like, yeah. And there's a guy, I had a guy come in one time, and he was getting his bow work on. He's like, yeah, it's probably my last tag. And I forget what the unit he had. I'm like, yeah, you never know. He's like, no. He goes, when you're 94 years old, I'm like, you are bullshit. I go, there's no way you're 94 years old. I made him show me his license. Let me see your license. He's like, I go, dude, you're my hero. I go, you give me hope. Because he was in the best shape I've ever seen in my life.
That's the gold standard.
Absolutely.
That's the vision right there.
Like, hell yeah, there's hope now. But
40 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. But they're just so hard to come by. You never thought about that. I never, like I was telling Deanna, I was like, I've never contemplated, like this could be, how many more good tags am I going to get in my life? And she's like, well, do you want to do a late tag? I'm like, no, I got points built up. I'm holding out for a good tag, but who knows when I'm going to get it? I could be 65 years old before I get it. I don't know. But they don't come around. To this day, there's still that old misconception, well, you got to do archery because it's easier to get a tag. It's not anymore. It's just as hard as any other tag out there. So too many people doing it.
Well, this is the wisdom you get at Timber Mesa. you get 40 years of good stuff. I'm curious, even what did a bow shop look like 40 years ago? Was it just Fred Bear bows, like recurve? Yeah,
so back in the day when I bought my first bow in 80, actually I bought my first bow in 85. I started shooting in 84. There was a guy in Lakeside, and he had a shop, and it was probably, it might have been like a 12 by 12 shed in his yard. And his name was Hemphill, Old Man Hemphill. And I remember going up there with my dad. I'd saved up some money, and we're going to go buy me a bow. And I walked into this thing. I think he had like 3 bows hanging on the wall, all PSEs. And I don't remember I just remember it being really dark. And there was I didn't test shoot a bow. I don't think he even fitted me for it. I think he
There you go.
Yeah, this is what you want. And I bought it. And but I remember back in like 80, I graduated in 88. So 80, 87, 88, 89. I was working at a place called Turkey Track Archery. It was right across the street from where we are right now. Buddy and Rose Hilton owned it. And Deanna and I were dating at the time. And I would go in, I started hanging out. I would kind of go in there kind of timidly, like I was, I'm wanting to be a bow hunt and this and that. And and Buddy was just one of the coolest old guys in the world. He loved the frickin' varmint hunt. I mean, and he never make any money because he gave everything away. He'd be like, here's some arrows, don't worry about it, I'll get you next time. And his wife would be pissed all the time. But they're the ones that introduced me to 3D shooting, me and Deanna together. They started taking us around to shoots around like San Manuel to shoot, and Tucson, and places like that. And his shop was just, it was tiny. I think if he had 10 bows on the wall, that was like a lot of bows. And arrows, those aluminum arrows back then, it was only Eastons. That's all we had, and all feathered. We just do feather fletchings back then. But I would work in there part-time at his shop. And it was a completely different what it is now. Now I'll run a $150,000, $170,000 inventory at each location. If those guys had $5,000 for the inventory back in the day, I'd be shocked. It's just different. But the old archery shops too were like these old timers. You walk in and it'd be the same old timers hanging out in the shop all day long. They'd have a be on a bar stool. They'd be sitting there, crotchety old guys and telling war stories.
Nothing's changed.
No, we still do that. I still got guys. I had to tell him to be a little more calmer about it. I remember Dave Stepp was in there. Dave Stepp Senior, and Dave Stepp was kind of like one of the godfathers of archery up on this mountain back in the day. And I had this shop, and me and his son grew up, and his son had a shop in Prescott, and Dave Senior was sitting here, and people walk in with an old bow. And they go, I don't know, I got this bow. Is it worth? That bow's a piece of shit. Throw it in the trash can. You can't shoot. He's like, Dave, stop, man. You can't tell people that. And he was just so old, and he's just old school stuff, and that's a piece of junk. You don't want that thing. You got to shoot this. And even I saw some old timers that come in, and they start, people come in, and all of a sudden, and they think they're helping out. I get it. And they've forgotten more about archery than I'll ever know, probably in my life. but the way they come across with people, and that's how it was in archery shops in the past, and that's why people were so intimidated to go into archery shops.
Yeah.
Because they'd make you feel like you're stupid.
Yeah.
And that's not how. No, don't get me wrong. I'm crotchety, and I gotta feel about that long sometimes. But at the same time, I remember how I felt going into pro shops and how intimidated I was. I don't want people to be intimidated. I want people to enjoy this shop.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people who come in and they'll buy a bow like a diamond or something like that, and they're like, I didn't know you even sold those bows here. I thought you sold like the high end bows. I mean, no, we sell them all, man. We're an archery shop, but they don't. They go to the Bass Pros or the Sportsman's Warehouses, and for them, it's an easier buying experience sometimes because they don't feel intimidated. Because usually the guy behind the counter is as dumb as they are. So,
For sure.
but
I mean, that is the truth for sure.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, maybe it's because I had a good experience. I went to a bow shop in like South Tempe or something like that. It was like Awatuki, Tempe.
I know what you're talking about.
On Guadalupe Road or something like that. It feels like for me, and it has been, this kind of gateway into the unknown, right? Because like you can listen to podcasts and all this stuff, but like until you're talking to a real fucking human about hunting the mountain or the land or whatever's going on, it's just not real. Like where is the wisdom for new hunters to be coming in? It's in places like this, you know. That's why I see it, you know. Like we just got to revolve around. Like anything you're telling me, I'm telling Alexander and Evan. I'll gotta get the tags in. Like right now, we gotta do antelope. I know we're not gonna hunt them, but like eventually we will one day, you know.
Yeah. I think. Well, so many people come into an archery shop, and like I said before, they want to tell me how to do stuff. You know, I've had guys talk to me. I had a guy not too long ago about broadheads, and I was talking about this one broadhead that we push all the time in the shop, and I heard that's a piece of crap broadhead. That's a junk broadhead. I go, really? Who did you hear that from? This guy in New Jersey said it on his he's a social media guy. He says that broadhead sucks. Well, you know, let's see how many elk he's killed with a broadhead. I mean, all these African animals on this wall were killed with that broadhead. I've killed 6 elk with that broadhead. You know, my grandfather used to tell me, one battle test is worth 1,000 opinions, and I live by that. You know, that's why I try to shoot
Everything.
I can't shoot everything. I can't shoot all the broadheads, but I try.
Say that again.
What's that?
The quote.
What one battle test is worth 1,000 opinions.
That's it.
And I live by it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what anybody tells me.
Yeah.
I want to find out on my own.
Yeah.
And I want to go to a guy who knows what he's talking about. I want to have somebody who's got some skin in the game.
Yeah.
I used to have guys that would, at Mesa store and the Shoulder store, we were selling Mr. Ranch backpacks and boots at the time, crispy boots. And these guys they couldn't sell it. I go, why are you guys not selling boots? Oh, my guys told me they're too expensive. You know, like, well, what are you wearing? I'm wearing Redhead. Okay, well, it's hard to sell somebody this when you're using this.
100%.
And I told him, you got to have skin in the game. You got to be able to tell somebody, hey, why this tripod works good. You know, you have to be on that mountain at dawn in the cold ass wind, glassing into the sun, to be able to explain to somebody, this is why you want this, and this is why you don't want that.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. I mean, that's you know, Antonio, myself, we live this 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, I was at 23 on Sunday, just glassing, and there's no any hunts going on. I'm just out there just glassing away, see if I can find
Nice.
some. You know?
Just on the rim?
No, we were down above Tunnel Basin. I found this little knob on Onyx. This is like 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. I'm on Onyx looking at areas and going through topos and trying to find
so
stuff.
good.
So I
It's
told
so
them, I go,
good.
hey, let's go down, you know, take the side by side. We're going to go check out this one little ridge. And we boogied down there and got up on this ridge, and I started glassing and, you know, found a really good mule deer. But that's I need to be able to explain that to somebody. If somebody walks in and says, hey, what do you recommend? I'm not going to recommend shit.
Yeah.
I hate shops
Yes.
that tell me I recommend this because I make the most money on this.
Yeah.
And that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And that's just not me. I'd rather sell something that's 20% margin that works
Yeah.
than something that's not going to work at 40% margin.
Well, that's the integrity of yourself. I'm curious for you and a recommendation for a young hunter, like prep work, like you were just talking about. Like you're on Onyx, want to go check out a spot. You know, for me, getting ready for just hunts in the fall and winter. Yeah, just get out there, look around,
That's the
walk
only way to
around.
do it. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Do you do trail cams?
I used how do I
Used
answer
to.
this? No, I do not. I do not use trail cams for
Yes.
hunting.
Is it against the law now?
It's illegal now.
Oh, is it?
And the way it's worded is you can't use trail cams in partaking of
Yeah, and the
wildlife.
taking them game.
I still have trail cameras out there that I don't. I
Yeah, for
haven't checked
birds.
them in years, but yeah, one time, yeah, I ran a lot of trail cameras, a lot. You can't use them now.
And you have them still out there.
I do, but
yeah.
but I do it because for me, there's nothing else that you can't have trail cameras.
Yeah.
You just can't use them in aiding and taking of wildlife. So I can tell you right now, even when I ran trail cameras, and I would have 50, 60 trail cameras out across the state, I never killed an animal that I actually had on trail camera. I may have killed an animal that was in that same vicinity. It was a different animal that I found, but I never did. I don't say that people didn't do that. That's what people did it for. And I understand why they got rid of trail cameras. I love trail cameras. It was like Christmas morning, man. I pulled SD cards. I would sit there on my computer and go, oh, yeah, here we go, man. I'm like, oh, look at that. Man. It was like literally.
Dirty magazine.
Oh, yeah. It was like porn to me. I mean, like, oh, my gosh. Do you know, I would sit there and go, okay, should we get SD cards today? I'm like, yeah, let's go grab them. We have 20 SD cards laid out by the computer. We sit there all morning going through SD cards, looking at, oh, look at that. It's like Christmas morning. I love looking at animals like that. Why they outlaw them makes perfectly good sense, because you get an animal on, and I'm not bad mouthing outfitters by any means, but a big bull pop up or a big buck, it was a matter of days before that animal was dead. Because once it popped up, geographically wise, they would surround that thing, and it wasn't. It's unfair.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. In the chase of it.
Yeah.
And you get some of these outfitters that are big, and they're running a lot of guys. I mean, there's some outfitters I met some guys at 23 one time, and they were hauling ass in their little Durango, and they were just flying. I was glassing them on this ridge. I'm like, what are these guys doing? Well, I'd seen them the next day, and I stopped talking to them. What are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, we're pulling SD cards. That was their entire job. They just pulled SD cards, run to the camp. They go through the SD cards, figure out where they wanted to hunt at, and then get their hunters in there. I'm like, well, no wonder. But so I get why they did it. And up on the Kaibab on the strip, cameras were really bad. I mean, I hunted in 37A down there by Marana one time, and those trick
Yeah,
cams
they'd
down
have 30
there,
cameras on
dude,
them.
there'd be 40 cameras on the trick cam. There's this craziest thing. I mean, there'd be one T-post, and the game and fish would have their camera up there, but there'd be cameras lined up underneath it. And then on hunting day, there'd be 4 different ground blinds around a trick tank, and guys sitting in all of them. I'm like, this is a freaking rodeo.
What the hell?
Oh yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's where I learned the glass on a ladder.
I
You ever
have.
done that?
I've climbed windmills and glass windmills. I probably shouldn't say that, but I have.
Yeah, we shouldn't be giving our secrets out.
Yeah.
But I was going in there one time, and he was like, why do you have a ladder? I go, so I can glass. And I learned that from the 37A. I was watching this old guy, and he was on this freaking tripod ladder mounted by his truck.
I've gotten
glass.
on the camper
like,
shell
that's
of
a
my truck. I'll set up my tripod on that and glass.
Yeah.
I've done that a lot.
Yeah, I've done that. I'm just like, you said the craziest thing watching a guy walk across the freaking glass with a ladder. It's like, what the hell is this guy doing? I'm like, that's a genius. So,
Well, my question, just about like you glass the mule deer. How does that help you? Are you more looking for good area to glass for, let's say, September or November or whenever you pull something?
yeah.
Or is it like you think those animals will still, like an elk herd, will still be there?
Yeah, yes to all that. So deer, as long as they don't get pushed out, they'll kind of be in the same area. But if I can find, I glass up, I'm glassing up bucks and does, things like that. Well, that's a pretty good area right there. It's going to hold deer no matter what, unless they get pushed out. So I'll make I'll mark an onyx on that button, or same thing with elk, things like that. Hey, I traditionally see a lot of elk over in this canyon right here. That goes on my onyx. I'll go back, and not that I ever get tags, but if I ever got a tag, that's where I would go. But I just like looking at animals.
Yeah.
I glass. I love glassing. Yeah, and so many people, they don't have the patience for it. I can sit on a ridge from sun up to sundown and glass all day long. I may take a nap here or there, especially now I'm older. But but I will glass forever. And I've had guys, I'd be out with them and we walk up a ridge. And by the time I get my tripod out of my pack and my 15s, they've already glassed it. There's nothing here. Let's go. I'm like, no. I go, sit down. We're going to be here a while. But so many people don't understand how to glass. They just scan a mountain real quick and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And I will pick a mountain apart. I'll scan it. I have a method that I do. I'll scan it horizontally. I'll scan it vertically, and then I'll start picking up bushes. And I'll go on every bush, and I'll look at that bush, and I'll wait. And it's not just look at the bush, but it's like, look at the bush. Try to find the rocks underneath the bush. Go to the next bush. And that's how I'll glass it. And it'll take me hours to glass a ridge.
Okay,
That's
so
funny.
you see antlers behind a bush.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say where you told Alexander and I, it's across, 700 yards away, right? You see it in the morning. What's your move?
By myself?
By yourself.
I will get on my Onyx. I don't know what I want to tell people this or not.
Oh, crap.
I'm going to say, so I will try to figure out where that thing is at on my Onyx, or try to find a landmark. It's possible in those flats. It's hard, like where you guys are at. It's off that one side is pretty flat. It's kind of hard to get a landmark there.
Yeah.
But I'll try to get that, and I will try to figure out the wind, things like that. And I'm also going to try to figure out is he in the shade? Is he just bedded for the day? Mm-hmm. And that as that sun moves, he's going to move.
Just keep watching them.
I watch animals a lot.
Yeah.
Before I even make a move.
Yeah.
I'll watch.
It's not like, spikes.
We're
go
going
after them. Like you're like.
No, I will sit there. I'm probably too cautious probably than other people. I'll sit there and like, okay, as the sun moves, he gets up and moves with that shadow. Okay, I got probably another hour or so before that sun shifts again before he wants to move. I try to plan that way.
They're trying to stay in the shadow.
Yeah, they're going to stay in that. They're going to stay in that shade. As that move, they're going to get up and move. After a few hours, they're going to get up, stand up, stretch around a little bit, lay back down. Before I get to that, before I bonsai out off a hill, I want to pretty much know. This is how this plan's going to go. It never goes the way you want to plan, but that's what
You
I
see
do.
where he's kind of moving, and okay.
Yeah, that's how I do it. With the elk, like I may watch an elk. I had an elk. I had a late unit 1 tag in 2000, must have been 19. I watched 3 elk for 4 days, trying to figure out my move before I was like, okay, I think I can kill this thing now. I'm going in after it.
And it's pretty reliable. Like, okay, so you let it go the first day, let it go the
Not always. No, especially with pressure.
Yeah,
Because then you can
That's what I
change
was
that.
thinking.
You could have a mountain lion run through that area all of a sudden. You can have a hunter go through that area. When Deanna had a 23 bull tag, I spent a month before that hunt. Had one bull. I had him figured out. I mean, he was money. I go, we're killing open in the morning. I go, this is a slam dunk. I get there. There are 7 guys on that ridge when I got there opening morning. And they walked through that freaking bowl with those hoochie mamas and blew every freaking elk out of
What's
that
a hoochie
country.
mama?
It's a little push call.
You'll learn what it is.
Primal skin out with it. Yeah, don't.
If I'm learning much, right?
If I ever it's a rut thing. It's in the September when they go on. But everybody.
No, at your workshop.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about hoochie mamas. Yeah. We don't sell hoochie mamas at our shops.
So they're just chirping on the.
Oh, dude, it's like nonstop. It's like,
hilarious.
and elk calling's different than what it used to be as well. There's things that we used to be able to do back in the day that you cannot do now. As far as you'll just blow them out of the country.
Because they're attuned to it.
Yeah, they've adapted to it.
Yeah, they got smart. Yeah.
But yeah, but a lot of things will change. It depends on where I'm at. It depends on what unit I'm in and how much pressure and how many other hunters I'm seeing like that. It may be like, hey, I know there's a guy on that ridge and there's a guy on that ridge and we've all seen this buck. We're going after it. Let's go. Let's figure this thing out and get in there. There's been some fisticuffs. You hear stories about guys that, going after the same animal, and it can get pretty Western out there.
Dude, I had a buddy, his first hunt, the buddy that I gave the bow to, his first elk hunt, he drew a tag. He went and shot. And then at like moment afterwards, boom, another shot happened. And his friend who he's with, did you shoot 2? He's like, I heard 2 shots. And then the bull went down and they were walking up and they realized someone else shot too. And so they met up with the hunter, and it was all civil. They're both like, oh shit, we're going for it. But they were like, where do you think you hit the bull? And he's like, you know, behind the left rib or whatever. And he's like, well, I think I hit him in the neck. And it was actually my buddy who actually like nailed the spot, you know, because he shot first and then it dropped and then it missed the other one. But like, I'm like, that's insane.
You hear horror stories all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I had a cuss.
Tell me a horror story,
A
Antonio.
horror story, one of my personal ones. Let's see, I was hunting a big buck down in 32. I mean, easily a 200 plus inch mule deer. Hunted this deer for 4 days straight. Got into 60 yards. My brother's sitting up on a hill guiding me in. And I was probably 17, 18 maybe. I was 18 because I was shooting my Hoyt Defiant. And sneak up, it's last light, the sun's setting behind him, and this buck has been bedded under this mesquite tree all day long. And so I sneak in 62 yards, set my sight. I'm like, all right, like, we're going to sit here. And I sat there for 45 minutes, and my brother's sitting on top of the hill, so I texted him. I was like, dude, I don't know what to do. Like, I got 5 minutes off the light left. Get to the point where I can't see my pin no more. And he's like, well, you know where he's sitting? Like, just shoot him. Shoot him in his bed. And all day long, that deer had been bedded down with his head to the right, body to the left. So I was like, cool. Found his head, came down to the left, shot my shot, heard a loud whack. Deer gets up, takes off. I thought I smoked him. I was like, I killed the giant. You know, and my brother comes off the hill, we walk up there, and my arrow's right at the base of that mesquite tree. Clean as can be. Well, that deer had gotten up, spun around, and did one of those deers where they turn their head the opposite way. And so he looked like he had never moved. Well, like 2 weeks later, now in the January season, that same exact buck gets killed in 37B by Florence. Opposite side of, like, I was down by Wilcox, and I kid you not, we're comparing pictures. The dude brings the deer into the shop that I was working at, and it's the same exact buck, and we're 80 miles apart from where.
How far
80,
away?
90 miles. Yeah,
Wow.
far. And yeah, that was probably my biggest one. I've had people shoot at deer that I'm putting a stock on, like just take Hail Mary shots, hunting the Metro unit down in Tucson. I was stocking a big 4x.
Well, I was blessed to not have that much pressure. There's one truck, but this sounds insane to have people shooting over you, or like, that's crazy.
Public land hunting can be an adventure.
It can.
That's for sure. And me being the hothead that I am, well, I've had some pretty big encounters in the woods with guys, and it's like one of us may be going to jail tonight. I mean, it's been pretty ugly ones.
Well, the one thing I definitely would stand up for is those non-motorized areas. If I see a motorized vehicle in there, I'm like, because that's where I feel like I got the advantage, just being strong, young, and fit. Like, love backpacking.
Yeah.
You know, seeing the side by side back there. I just saw a video the other day, just like, you know, riding right through it, scared these hunters elk away. I'm like, I'd be pissed.
Oh yeah.
That's the one thing that I could foresee. I'm sure there's gonna be many, but
Well, I tell you,
Elk hunting can be different.
hunting on public land, you're good. Yeah, you can have on that hunt. I told you I watched those bulls for 4 days. When I finally said, okay, this morning I'm doing it. I'm going in. I told Deanna, she I need you on top of this ridge. It's like where they would come from. I couldn't see them until they got right on me. I go, I know exactly where they're going in at. I go, I'm gonna get set up down there. You just need to text me, let me know they're on their way. And she, okay. So she went up on this ridge, and she texted me, goes, here they come. I go, right on. Done deal, man. And I'm like, I literally started, I usually don't get buck fever till after I shoot.
yeah.
I was starting to shake a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden
You see it coming?
I see the tips of the antlers coming across from the crown on the meadow. And I'm like, oh, this is it, man. And this is a good bull. I mean, this is a quality late season bull. And also my phone starts buzzing. Somebody's texting. I'm not even paying attention. Bulls are coming. I'm like, here we go. All of a sudden, those bulls flung and hauled ass. I'm like, what the hell happened? I'm grabbing my wind checker. I'm like, winds? All of a sudden, I hear this guy running behind me. Because I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. He comes up and goes, hey, did you see those elk? Yeah, I did. And he's like, so I finally got on my phone as Deanna. There's an idiot driving across the meadow. There's a guy coming up on you. And I'm like, the blues. So I go, I haul, he's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, whatever. I haul ass out into the meadow. And I watched them run across and jump the state. Oh, two of them, two did, my big one and the other one jumped the res, never to be seen ever again. And I'm just like, I cannot believe this just happened to me just now. And so the guys, being Brian, I get a little lippy. And I'm like, what in the hell were you thinking, man? They go, I've been hunting these bulls for all these. I mean, no, you haven't. I go, I've been on this ridge right here for 4 days, dude, and I've never seen you once in here. I have seen your truck. I didn't know he was driving first. I finally see his truck on the meadow. I've seen that truck drive down this road numerous times during those 4 days, but you were never up in here. What he was doing, he's driving by, and he's happening on that little rise. He could see him. It just happens like, well, I mean, if it had been 5 minutes earlier or later, he'd have never seen him. But he saw him right there, and he hauled ass up this 2-tractor along the edge of this meadow and drove literally like, I can't believe I didn't hear the truck. He wasn't that far from me. Maybe I was just so geeked out and bug fevered that I didn't hear him. But he goes, well, your buddy up there scared him up on the ridge. I'm like, don't even go there, buddy. I'm like, no. And she's coming. Well, you think I get lippy? Deanna gets out of the truck. She's screaming at the guy. I'm like, it is what it is. I go, there's still 2 more. I go, they're not as good, but we'll come back in here and I'll get them in the morning. Well, that next morning I pull up in there, and his truck is parked exactly where Deanna's truck was parked at. And I got Kenny Myers, a buddy of mine, with me this time. Deanna didn't go with me. I'm like, that son of a bitch is in my spot. So I go, well, we're not going in there. I go, so I went up a little higher on this ridge. I go, let's just see what's going on. Here come those 2 bulls going right down the same path. I go, well, we're going to find out if he's in there right now. Pretty soon, I see 2 bulls hauling ass out of there. I go, he blew them out. And so I waited. I drove down to his truck and I waited for him. He comes walking up the hill. I'm like, you want to know a chicken shit thing you just did, dude? What are you talking about? I go, you're in I bet you were in my freaking ground blind that I built, weren't you? Oh, no. I'm like, yeah, you were. 'Cause I used to cut some branches out and made a little ground blind in there. I go, but you're sitting in the same spot that I was in yesterday morning. No, I've been watching these bulls. I'm like, dude, I was hot. I mean, I'm ready to pummel this dude. I go, well, let me tell you something, dude. I go, it is what it is. I go, you're welcome for I should charge you a scouting fee for putting you on these bulls. He said the same thing that I hate. People tell me, but it's public land hunting. I'm like, yeah, it is. So he and I get into it a little bit. Anyways, I leave. The next day, I'm at the shop. I see that truck pull into the shop. I'm like, oh shit, it's a guy. I told Richard, hey, you're up, man. I can't be here. So I will run back to the range back here. I hear the guy come in. He had a problem with his bow. Richard took care of it. I go, that's the guy that blew out my elk. I hope he didn't see me. But oh yeah, it was. I was hot on that one. I really put in the time. I thought this was a done deal, and I thought I was going to get a really good.
Did you punch a tag that year?
I did. Yeah. It was a little 6x6, nothing that I needed.
Yeah.
I ended up killing like on the last day. Finally, at that point I was like, my thing on a late hunt. It's got to be a 6x6. That's kind of like that's my prerequisite.
Yeah.
And it was not much more than a 6x6, but I killed one. But yeah, it was public land, man.
All the time,
guys. All the time talk about it.
Can I? And thank you for answering all these questions because I got a lot of them. But with these private hunts. Can you just go every year to these big ranches and pay a shit ton of money? Like,
I mean, for elk?
For elk,
like in New Mexico?
Yeah, well, like
Arizona doesn't have it.
Cam's. What about the reservation?
Well, yeah,
San Carlos.
You can hunt on San Carlos. You can hunt on. Well, there's a waiting list usually.
Okay.
But yeah, if you got the money, you can go hunt those.
And what's that cost?
I think they're $23,000 right now on the White Mountain Apache. Yeah. You should do it every year.
And like you don't punch that tag. That is
A lot of guys don't. But you also have to think those guys that are hunting the 20,000 is not.
Yeah,
It's not. It's like us going and buying a $500 tag somewhere.
yeah.
It's not like anything. But there are guys that'll walk away from that hunt empty-handed.
Yeah.
Tag suit. I could. There's no way I could do that. Now you can get a management hunt, which is like 5x5 or less, for like $7,500, I think. And St. Carlos, I think, is even more expensive.
What's a
than
5x5?
That's a 5x5 mature bull elk or less. So it's basically a cull buck. I mean, a cull bull that they're trying to get out of the herd. And it's not. It's a hard hunt. It's not an easy hunt. But it's a fraction of the price.
That would pay for guides to get you in there.
Yeah, those fees, from my understanding, it pays for the hunt, which is I think it's their 7-day hunts now. It used to be 5. I think they're 7-day hunts now. Cisco told us. But it doesn't cover your tip or anything like that, but they'll cover the hunt.
Yeah.
And they put you up lodging and things like that. And I tell you, if you could do it, I mean, it's an experience because those elk don't get the pressure the state line gets. And it is the land of the giants. There's some big ones up there.
Just down south here, huh?
I tell people all the time, I go, Arizona has the best elk in the country. I feel. I was in Kentucky one time at a deer show, and the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, they'd reintroduced the elk. And so they had a couple elk
To Kentucky.
in Kentucky.
Cool.
They had a couple of elk mounts on this wall that they had their booth set up on, and they're beautiful. I mean, you're talking about black as can be with the ivory tips because of the foliage that they're rubbing on. Beautiful, beautiful elk, but not big. And we're talking, 330, 320 bulls. And this guy's like, "Oh, these are our elk. We got the biggest elk. We're grazing the biggest elk here." I'm like, "Those are not big elk." And they don't know I'm from Arizona. And I'm like, nah. They go, that bull, that's like a 320 bull. No, that bull's 360. I go, you guys measure things differently in Kentucky than we do. You guys use the metric system or something. That's not how we measure them. And but they were beautiful elk. And my buddy he lives in Virginia. He lives kind of right on the corner of that. He says they will drive out like 10 miles from our house in September and listen to the elk bugling in Kentucky
That's cool.
now. It's pretty cool now, and now they have a pretty substantial harvest right now, and they're harvesting pretty well. And there's a couple other states back east that have been introduced. Tennessee, I think, is one of them.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah, they've been introduced them down there and stuff like that. But it's funny when you see people that think an elk's a big elk, and it's like, I'll hear what's my story. I was in Illinois hunting one time at a deer lodge. And the first day, I told you the story. The first day we get there, and everybody's kind of like mingling. Hey, where are you from? What do you do? This and that. What kind of bow you shooting? All that shit. And we're sitting there. Well, this there's an elk up on the wall, and I knew the guy had killed it in Arizona. I think he killed it in 27, if I remember right. And it's a good bull. It's like literally like a 330 bull. Well, these guys are from back east, and we're talking. He goes, yeah. So you got some big elk, huh? I'm like, yeah, we call big elk in Arizona. He's like, yeah, well, what do you think that elk right there scores? I'm like, it's maybe 330. Well, this guy says it's the 380. I'm like, oh, well, I'm trying to. Okay, I'm at this guy's lodge, and I'm living. He's taking me hunting. I'm like, and Dean's like, don't do it. I'm like, I don't think it's 380. It's a good bull, but it's not 380. Well, I go on a morning hunt, and that night I come back afterwards, and all of a sudden this guy, the owner, will not talk to me. He's livid, pissed at me. I'm like, what's with this dude? And Deanna's like, well, what? Because Deanna, she hunted in the morning. She would come home back to the lodge in the afternoon. I stayed all day. She goes, well, at lunchtime, those guys took the elk down, and they scored it. I'm like, oh shit. And I go, well, the score, she goes 327 or something like that. I go, oh, I'm on the money. She was like, yeah, but they told that guy he's full of shit because he lied to him, and now he's pissed. Oh my God. So I had to go to the guy, hey, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause any problems. That bull's bullshit. I'm like, hey, dude, an elk with a bow, any elk with a bow is a good bow. I mean, I'm trying to smooth things over, try to be political. Like, hey, I still want to hunt on your property. Don't kick me out of here type thing. I'm like, so now I don't get into it too much. I'm like, hey, what do you think, Brian? I don't have an opinion. I just get my mouth to myself. I'll tell you after the hunt.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was in Illinois at the same place, and my guy's like, hey, you want to see something really cool? We're driving back. I'm like, yeah, what do you got? He goes, I'm going to show you guys. You guys are going to love this. He drives me and Deanna up to this fence, and there's a bull elk laying in there. He goes, what do you think about that? That's cool, man. I go, it's an elk. He's like, yeah. You ever seen one like that? I'm like, yeah, a lot. I go, you realize I'm from Arizona, right? You guys got elk there? I'm like, yeah, we got some elk in Arizona. But he's giving me the grand tour of the elk farm. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, man. Let's go back.
Yeah.
It's fun when people go. You go back east some places from being out west, and they had no idea what the West. They think the West is just like literally desert, flat desert.
Yeah.
They don't understand the mountains we live in. I was at a guy, we were hunting back east, and there's a cut cornfield, and we're walking up. It's like 4 a.m. We're walking to my stand, and it's got an incline to it. Nothing. Man, it's a cornfield. He stops. No, I'm like, oh, I'm standing listening. Like, what's this guy doing? You know, he's just standing there. He goes, you okay? I'm like, what? And he's like, you good? It's a pretty good hill. I'm like, yeah, we're good, man. Let's go. Yeah, it's the same hill, buddy. Yeah, here's hilarious. It's funny, but elk hunting out here, people and everybody wants to elk hunt. That's everybody, and I get it. I mean, I go to archery tournaments, and people are like, hey, you know, you got any elk pictures? And I'm like, oh yeah, and we start going through pictures and stuff like that. And everybody wants that's like the ultimate for people. They want to hunt elk.
I mean, every day in my yard, there's big old elk.
Yeah.
Bunch of deer. I'm curious. You were talking about like the 3D archery kind of ranges. You know, like are there any around here? Like as far
There
as
used to be, the club used to have one here in Sholo. It disbanded. They never had one like open all the time. Down in where Antonio's at, usually they still have 3D.
Yeah,
clubs
year
too,
round.
right? All the time.
Yeah, they just did
You can walk a course out.
they just did a shoot this past weekend too.
and so you have
Yeah.
so you have to range it, and then it's closest to the pin, or
Yeah, so they'll have scoring rings on them.
Yeah.
And they'll have like, you know, a 10 ring, and they'll have a 12 ring or 11 ring, they call it sometimes, or an 8 ring. But it used to be back in the day when we first got into it, you know, there was no judging yardage. You had to guess everything. Now in the last 10 years,
Everything's
maybe,
got to know.
known distances where you can use a rangefinder has really taken off, and people, that's a big class now. But it's fun. It helps you out. It makes you a better hunter, I think. You know how to aim on an animal, things like that. The problem with aiming on an animal is, you know, he does always tell you, pick a spot. Well, a lot of times there's not a spot. You know, you're just, especially when your adrenaline's pumping. You know, in here you're shooting at a target. You know, there's a yellow dot that you're aiming at. Well, there's no yellow dot on an elk or a deer, and that's where people get. You know, I ask how many guys, you know, they'll have a miss. I'm like, well, what'd you shoot him for? I don't know. I just saw pins on hide. I let it go. They get all amped up and they don't realize what they did.
yeah.
And quartering away shots, things like that, really changes the angle of how the arrow's going to enter. And people don't realize, you know, I can't tell you guys tell me to swear up and down it was sitting broadside. I'm like, no, dude, it was quartering pretty hard one way or the other. I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah, it was. And those quartering shots it really gets people. That's where people really have a hard time at, is with quartering shots.
Okay, so because they're less lethal.
The quartering shots?
Yeah.
No, it's because the angle of the arrow's going into the body. Yeah. So if I have a quartering shot, and I'm aiming at right behind the shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hit further back.
Yeah.
Because that's where the arrow shot. So when you're on a quartering shot, you want to always aim for your exit hole.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. And it's hard to teach people that. It's like, hey, where's that arrow going to leave at? And that's where I'm going to aim on that body at. Mm-hmm. That's where I see the biggest problem with people is on quartering shots. And it's hard. You know, you don't realize that an animal, quartering a little bit, a couple of degrees, can change the effect of what the arrow does, where the entrance and exit's at. But I see more people. Would you say more people screw up on a quartering shot than anything else?
even experienced people.
Yeah.
I mean, my deer I shot last year, it was quartering, you know, slightly away from me, and I shot him at like 5:50 in the morning, so it's still super low light, and you know, I kind of didn't. I got super fortunate, you know, I caught both lungs, but it was further back than I wanted it to be.
I shot a deer in Texas a few years ago, and I got to that deer. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I was like, that's not at the shot I just placed on this thing. I'm like, I was surprised he even killed it. I'm like, there's no way the thing was quartering that hard, but it obviously was. I'm like, I just swore it was broadside, but I shot that thing. Luckily, where I shot him, I got lucky on it. But Yeah, I'd have never thought that deer was quartering that hard for me. So,
You know, I just realized that literally 2 days ago because I actually have been playing around in my yard and kind of moving around trees, and it was a quarter shot, and where I shot, it was just like, you know, coming out here because the bow that you got me tuned up here is just going through my foam targets almost all the way through. But yeah, I realized that I need to come back with it because it was almost through like the shoulder blade and not through the neck. You know?
back in the day, you literally take like a ruler and just line it up with your arrow over the top of that target and see where that exit hole is.
Yeah.
That would give you so much more detail. Like, well, shit, I need to be here to get that thing to come out there.
Yeah.
You see that a lot. But now we were talking about this last week on the podcast. There's these new targets that Delta has that are phenomenal. It's actually like a QR code. And once you scan it, it'll give you all the internals. And you can look at this thing that tells you where your arrow is and what internals you hit. Did you hit lungs? Did you hit liver? Did you hit heart? It's a cool ass target.
Dang.
But it's expensive, but they're awesome. I mean, especially for teaching purposes, for guys who really understand and that quartering shot. It's huge. Even tree stand shots. You know, I went back east. I had a hard time learning the tree stand shots. You know, I mean, where to aim at on a animal. I was like, why do I keep freaking hitting these things? We're so low on these things because of the angle and stuff like that. And I was catching them, but I was catching, part of the heart and one lung. I wasn't getting what I needed to get. And it took me a while to try and confiscate. It's like going to Africa. You go to Africa, you're taught to shoot them in the shoulder blade. Well, we call the shoulder blade. That is the hardest freaking shot to make for me. Because I'm so used to shooting behind the shoulder blade.
Why?
Well, that's normal. Because the way that their bone structure is, they don't have a shoulder blade. Their shoulder blade comes up and goes around, and their vitals are sitting right where our elk and our deer's shoulder blade is at.
Yeah.
That's where their vitals are at. And so my first trip to Africa, my PH was getting pissed. Dude, quit shooting them there. It's just, that's where my pin goes. I'm so used to doing it. He's like, you got to shoot him in the shoulder blade. And I'm like, okay. There's no shoulder. When I say shoulder blade, there's not a shoulder blade there.
Yeah.
But it's where we are told not to shoot.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just a different way of aiming. And your brain's so used to doing something, and you're in heat of that moment, and all these years kick you in. You're like, right behind right in the trees. You're like, oh, you're nothing worse than your piece goes, oh. You're like, not good, not good. You're like, oh shit, here we go. We're gonna be tracking.
There's nothing better than just having a bow that's tuned in. Like, my bow's pretty tuned in. I was shooting 81 yards today. I mean, I was in a grouping like this, you know, and all level too, you know, and it's just like, these things are amazing.
I'm going to tell you something, and I probably shouldn't say this, but you're more tuned in than you think you are then. And I mean, we can take, we talk about this all the time. I can take a bow that's completely out of tune, and I will stack arrows on top of each other with a hooter shooter. Would you agree with that,
Absolutely.
Antonio? It's not when you get a bow tuned, you're just making that bow more forgiving. So when you screw up, it's not seen as much on the target.
Okay.
That's what a tune is.
Yeah.
I can take a bow completely out of tune, and I'll stack arrows on it. The problem with it is me being good enough to shoot that untuned bow. And so many people get into this. It's always my bow. It's always my bow. It's never the bow. I'm telling you right now, it's not the bow. It's you. Your bow is just whatever you're putting into that bow is getting read bigger than what it should be. I tell people all the time. I tell people it's not about making my bow more accurate. It's making my misses be smaller. So I'm still going to miss.
Yeah.
Am I going to miss by a foot, or am I going to miss by 2 inches? That's where the tuned bow comes into play, and that's where you come into play at. But you'd be amazed at what you can do with an untuned bow and shoot really good. I shouldn't say that because nobody will get their bows tuned now.
That gives. I mean, I love the word sovereignty. It gives the choice is yours. You know, coming back to it empowers me actually.
You have to take ownership.
To take ownership, yeah. And it was the last day of the hunt. We're 5 miles kind of away from our camp, and we're like, all right, let's go back, grab a bite to eat, and then go out for one last hurrah. But on the way back, it was like 5-6 miles, and we're trudging through the mountain. We get back to the spot, but we had the target set up, and I'm tired. I got the bow out, I glass it. Just kind of real life scenario, just huffing and puffing, and it was just like bullseye. and I thought, I was like, I am ready for this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Bring it on.
it was 73 yards, glass it, boom, nailed it. I'm like, tonight's the night. I'm on, baby.
Yeah, it's like hitting that perfect golf shot,
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm looking for
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. It felt like my practice shot was so good. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I was, but we didn't see.
Well, archery is so much confidence.
Yeah.
It's having the confidence. If you're at full draw and you're like, man, I hope I hit this thing. You're probably not going to hit it.
Yeah.
We shoot so much competition
Yes.
archery that, I tell people all the time, I go, my competition bows, I see people come, they're changing rest, they change sights, they change release. They're always chasing something that make them get 2 more extra points. They go, once you change, I go, my bow can shoot. I can't go shoot 3 X's and then shoot 3 9s and go, well, something's wrong with my bow. My bows don't go up, back and forth. They're one way or the other. The back and forth is the human part of it. And I go, I need to work on me. I don't need to change my bow up. My bow's fine. My bow can shoot. I need to change me. I got to fix me with something I'm doing. And so many people can't take that ownership of it. It's always the bow. Mm-hmm. It's not the bow. The bow can shoot. Some of the best shooters, you can give Levi Morgan a bare whitetail too from Kmart, and he'll go out there and smoke everybody's butt. It's just, that's just the way he shoots. It's not the equipment. The equipment helps.
Yeah.
And it makes your misses smaller, but you're still missing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what time is it? Holy moly. That's a long one.
Let's go.
Long ones are fun.
You want to tell you anything you want? Yeah. We get to BSing too much around here. That's
Exactly.
what we're all about. Anytime you got anything you want to add or questions?
No, I think I'm good. I'll kind of piggyback on what you said, but shooting indoors and shooting 3D definitely makes you a stronger shooter. Puts that little extra pressure on you to perform, and that really helps when it translates into hunting.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Parker, is there anything we should have asked you we didn't ask you?
This was a great time. Let alone a great podcast. I had a great time. I learned a lot, and thanks for asking me to come out here, man.
I appreciate you coming, man. Like I said, the life that you've lived, it should be a movie.
It is a movie.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like, we get stuck in our own little worlds and we're like, man, there's such a big world out there, and you've got to live it. And I look forward to our friendship and learning more about this.
Well, I love to come back on after I get my first kill.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love to share that journey and how to get there.
You have to,
that's cool.
You have to bring your,
thank you, man, of
course.
I don't even know how to say it, your instrument when you do that.
Oh, I'll be blasting you guys.
I'll tell you right now.
You better get your ass up here so I could play for you.
Well, he's coming.
I'll
up
be
for
there.
elk camp.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I think
I'll bring it. I'll
we
bring it
have
for
elk
sure.
camp.
Yeah.
Especially like you said in the lanes, the acoustics in it.
Oh my God, people won't even know what to do. Like you just say, be quiet for a second, and I'll play in here. It would sound like you're just in a portal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait.
That's gonna be
That's
sweet.
gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to bring that thing in and play.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. If you got any comments, something like that, please let us know. What things we can do to do better and make it more enjoyable. We love doing these things. We like to talk, obviously, and we love talking hunting. So, if you need anything else, let us know. Check out our website, timbermaceoutdoors.com. Other than that, have a good night, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll see you.
See ya.